The stars looked the same as they always had from Earth. No one knew that eyes were watching, measuring, and planning. High Commander Drac stood on the bridge of the Varen flagship, his 4 eyes fixed on the blue planet displayed on the main screen. His gray skin wrinkled as he frowned. "Such a small world," he said. "And yet so many different life forms." Science Officer Bryn moved her thin fingers across the control panel. "The humans are the dominant species. They are interesting." "Interesting?" asked Drac. "They fight each other constantly. Their weapons are primitive, but they adapt quickly." Drac laughed. His race had ruled the stars for 1,000 years. The Varen Empire had never lost a war. They were the masters of technology and space travel. "Prepare the first attack," he ordered. "We will show these humans what real power is." Captain Mike Jones woke to the sound of alarms. He jumped from his bed and grabbed his phone. "What's happening?" he asked the voice on the other end. "Sir, you need to see this," said Lieutenant Smith. "All satellites are going dark. Something big is entering Earth's atmosphere." Mike dressed quickly and drove to the military base. The sky was still dark, but strange lights flashed above the clouds. At the command center, screens showed objects falling toward major cities around the world. They weren't meteors. They moved too carefully, too purposefully. "First contact," whispered Dr. Lisa Brown, the team's scientist. "But they're not here to talk." The first explosions hit New York, London, Beijing, and Moscow at exactly the same time. The precision was terrifying. "We're under attack," Mike said. "Sound the alarm. Get all forces ready." But Earth wasn't ready. Not for this. The Varen attack ships landed in perfect formation. Soldiers in advanced armor stepped out, weapons ready. They didn't look human. They had 4 arms, gray skin, and eyes that glowed in the dark. "Begin the conquest," ordered Drac from his ship. "Show no mercy." Earth's military fought back with everything they had. Tanks, jets, and soldiers faced the aliens across battlefields worldwide. But human bullets bounced off alien armor. Human jets fell from the sky without being hit. Human tanks melted under strange energy weapons. Mike led his troops against a Varen landing party near Washington, D.C. They fought bravely, but were forced to retreat into the forests. "Their technology is too advanced," Mike told his surviving soldiers as they hid in a cave. "But they bleed. I saw one die. They can be killed." Dr. Brown joined their group, carrying a damaged alien device. "I need to study this," she said. "If we understand their technology, maybe we can fight back." News came in from around the world. Major cities had fallen. Governments were surrendering. The president was missing. "What do they want?" asked a young soldier named Jack. "Resources. Slaves. Who knows?" Mike answered. "But they picked the wrong planet to invade." In space, High Commander Drac celebrated the easy victory. "Earth is ours," he told his officers. "The humans are weak. Their resistance is broken." Science Officer Bryn looked worried. "Sir, I've studied their history. They don't give up easily." "It doesn't matter." Drac laughed. "The war is over. We've won." He didn't know that Mike and thousands like him were gathering in mountains, forests, and deserts around the world. He didn't know that Dr. Brown was already learning the secrets of Varen technology. He didn't know that humans were planning, adapting, and preparing. The Varen wanted war, but they would get a nightmare instead. 3 months after the first attack, Earth was a changed planet. The Varen controlled all major cities. Their massive ships hovered above capitals worldwide, casting dark shadows over once bustling streets. High Commander Drac walked through what was left of the White House. The building still stood, but many walls were broken. He had made it his headquarters to show his power. "Report," he ordered his second-in-command, Officer Trell. "Most humans have accepted our rule," said Trell. "We control their communication systems, power grids, and food supplies. Their military forces are destroyed or have surrendered." Drac smiled. showing his sharp teeth. And the resistance. Small groups hide in remote areas. They are no threat to us. Drac nodded. Begin Phase 2. Start moving humans to work camps. We need their labor to build our new bases. Deep in the Appalachian Mountains, Mike Jones looked at the map spread across a rough wooden table. Around him stood 20 men and women, the core of his resistance group. They've taken everything east of the Mississippi River, he said. They're rounding up civilians for work camps. Dr. Brown pointed to marks on the map. These are their supply routes. They're moving equipment and troops along these lines. Can we attack them? Asked Jack, cleaning his rifle. Not directly, Mike answered. Their weapons are too strong, but we can hit and run. Slow them down. Dr. Brown held up a small device. I've been studying their technology. Their armor has a weak point at the neck joint, and their vehicles need to recharge every 3 days. How do you know all this? Asked a woman named Rachel. I watch. I listen. And I found this. Brown showed them a small tablet with alien writing. It's their field manual. I've been learning their language. Mike stood up. Tonight, we make our first move. Small, careful, but they'll know we're still fighting. That night, a Varan supply truck stopped on a lonely road. The driver stepped out to check a fallen tree blocking the path. An arrow struck the weak point in his neck armor. He fell without a sound. Mike's team moved quickly, taking weapons and supplies from the truck before disappearing back into the forest. Across the world, similar small attacks happened. A Varan patrol disappeared in the Australian outback. Communication equipment failed in South America. A food storage facility burned in Africa. These are not random attacks. Science Officer Bren told Drac 1 month later. The humans are learning our weaknesses. Impossible, Drac growled. They are primitives. They adapt quickly, she insisted. We should study them more before continuing. Nonsense. Send more troops to these trouble areas. Crush any resistance. But more troops meant more targets. The resistance grew stronger as more humans escaped the cities to join the fight. In an abandoned mine, Dr. Brown worked with a team of engineers and scientists who had escaped capture. Look at this, she said, showing them a modified human rifle. I've added Varan energy cells. It can now penetrate their armor. Mike tested the weapon, firing at a piece of alien armor they had captured. The shot burned straight through. How many of these can you make? He asked. With the parts we've stolen, maybe 100, Dr. Brown said. Not enough for a war, but enough to cause trouble. That's all we need for now, Mike said. Just enough trouble to show them we won't surrender. News spread through hidden radio networks. Resistance groups shared information, tactics, and hope. High Commander Drac received reports of increased attacks. His easy victory was turning into something else. The humans are becoming a problem, Officer Trell admitted. Then solve the problem, Drac shouted. Find their leaders. Destroy their hiding places. What Drac didn't understand was that humans had been solving problems since they first walked the earth, fighting against nature, against each other, against impossible odds. They had practice. The Varan had wanted a quick war. They had gotten one. But now, something new was starting. Not a war, a nightmare. 6 months into the occupation, something changed. The Varan were no longer just losing supplies and small patrols. They were losing battles. In his mountain base, Mike Jones looked at the newest prize, a small Varan scout ship. His team had ambushed it near an old highway, using Dr. Brown's modified weapons. Can you fly it? He asked Dr. Brown. She nodded, her hands moving across the alien controls. Their systems are based on simple patterns. Once you understand the logic, it's not that different from our own technology, just more advanced. Mike smiled. Then it's time for the next phase. We don't just defend anymore. We take the fight to them. In the White House, High Commander Drac threw a table across the room. Officer Trell ducked. How? Drac shouted. How are these primitives doing this? They're using our own technology against us, Trell said carefully. They learn quickly. Science Officer Bren entered the room, her face serious. Commander, I've analyzed the attack patterns. The humans aren't fighting like any species we've encountered before. Explain, Drac ordered. Most species we've conquered fought in organized armies. Predictable. But humans fight in small groups. They change tactics constantly. They use their environment in ways we don't expect. They're still losing, Drac said. We kill hundreds every day. Yes, Bren agreed. But there are billions of them. And each day, they get better at fighting us. Rachel crawled through the mud, leading a small team toward a Varan communication tower. They had learned that the aliens couldn't see well in rain and darkness. Their home planet had 3 suns and rarely got dark. Remember, she whispered, plant the devices Dr. Brown gave us. Then get out. Don't try to fight them directly. Her team reached the base of the tower. Guards patrolled, but they moved in regular patterns, never changing their route. So predictable. Rachel placed small black boxes at strategic points around the base. Dr. Brown had designed them to tap into Varan communications. Soon, they would hear everything the aliens said to each other. In a hidden lab beneath Chicago's ruins, Dr. Brown worked with scientists from around the world. They had connected through a network of old radios and salvaged equipment. The Varan evolved on a planet with very little change in climate or conditions, she explained, showing them biological samples taken from dead aliens. They never had to adapt quickly. That's why their tactics are always the same. And that's their weakness, said a scientist from India. They don't know how to handle rapid change. Exactly, Dr. Brown agreed. They expect us to either fight directly or surrender. They don't understand guerrilla warfare. She showed them a map of Earth with red dots marking Varan bases. They build the same type of base everywhere, regardless of terrain. In deserts, mountains, jungles, all identical. So if we learn how to attack one base, said another scientist, we know how to attack them all, Dr. Brown finished. High Commander Drac received more bad news. 3 supply ships shot down. A major base in Africa overrun. Communication systems failing worldwide. This is impossible, he said. They're barely more than animals. Their technology is centuries behind ours. Science Officer Bren showed him a captured human weapon, a rifle modified with Varan parts. They take what works from us and combine it with what works for them, she explained. The result is unpredictable but effective. Then we need to change our approach, Drac decided. No more work camps, no more occupation. We will simply destroy them from orbit, wipe them out completely. Officer Trell looked worried. Commander, that violates Varan law. We conquer, we don't exterminate. I don't care, Drac shouted. Prepare the orbital weapons. He didn't know that Rachel's devices were recording every word, transmitting his plans to resistance groups worldwide. He didn't know that humans were already preparing their response. The Varan wanted a simple enemy. What they got was humanity. 1 year after the invasion, Earth was no longer the easy conquest the Varan had expected. Every day brought new challenges for the aliens. High Commander Drac's orbital strike plan had failed. Somehow, the humans had known about it in advance. They had attacked the weapon control centers on the ground before the strikes could begin. Now, the Varan home fleet was demanding answers. Supreme Council is questioning our methods, Officer Trell informed Drac. They want to know why a simple conquest is taking so long. Drac slammed his fist on the table. Tell them we need more ships, more soldiers. They won't send more resources for what was supposed to be an easy victory, Trell replied. Outside, explosions rocked the compound as another human attack began. Mike Jones and his team flew 3 captured Varan ships toward Washington, D.C. They had painted the ships with human symbols, a direct challenge to Drac. Remember the plan, Mike said over the radio. We're not trying to win today. We're sending a message. Dr. Brown sat beside him at the controls. The world needs to see that the Varan can be hurt. that they're not gods. Their small fleet approached the White House. Varan defense ships rose to meet them, but they were confused by seeing their own ships attacking. This moment of hesitation was all the humans needed. Mike's team launched their weapons, not at the White House, but at the giant communication tower behind it. The tower that connected Drac to the Varan fleet. Direct hit. Someone shouted as the tower collapsed in flames. Around the world, coordinated attacks struck Varan bases at exactly the same time. In London, resistance fighters used underground tunnels the aliens didn't know about to plant bombs beneath a major base. In Tokyo, modified civilian drones dropped homemade explosives on Varan patrol ships. In Rio de Janeiro, humans in stolen Varan armor walked right into the alien headquarters before revealing themselves. It wasn't just military attacks. Humans fought with information too. Rachel's team had broken into the Varan communication system and was now broadcasting messages in the alien language. You were not invited. You are not welcome. You will not win. In his command room, Drac watched his carefully built empire crumbling. How are they doing this? He demanded. How are they everywhere at once? Science Officer Bren had a theory. Humans evolved as tribal hunters. They can organize in small groups without central control. Each resistance cell operates independently, but toward the same goal. Cut off one head, two more appear, said a human prisoner they had captured. He laughed despite his injuries. You should have studied us before you attacked us. Silence him, Drac ordered. But the human kept laughing. You have technology. We have determination. Guess which lasts longer. At a hidden base in the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Brown unveiled her latest creation to resistance leaders from across North America. We call it the Disruptor, she explained, showing them a device the size of a suitcase. It creates a field that shuts down Varan technology within a half-mile radius. Does it work? Asked a leader from Canada. In answer, Dr. Brown activated the device. The lights in the room, powered by stolen Varan generators, flickered and died. When she turned it off, the power returned. We've built 50 of these, she said. With these, we can level the playing field. Officer Trell brought more bad news to Drac. Commander, we've lost contact with our bases in Europe, Asia, and South America. All of them. Drac couldn't believe it. The humans are using our own communication systems against us. Our soldiers can't tell which orders are real anymore. Drac stared at the map showing his shrinking territory. This was supposed to be easy. Sir, Trell said quietly, I think we should consider withdrawal. Never, Drac shouted. We don't lose wars. We are Varan. But for the first time in 1,000 years, the Varan were afraid. And the nightmare was just beginning. 18 months after the invasion, the Varan controlled less than half of Earth. Their mighty ships still circled in space, but on the ground, they were losing. High Commander Drac had moved his headquarters 3 times in the past month. Each base had been attacked shortly after he arrived. Someone was leaking information to the humans. We have a traitor, he told Officer Trell. Find them. It could be anyone, Trell replied, or it could be their technology. The humans have adapted our communication systems in ways we never thought possible. Science Officer Bren entered with a prisoner, a young human female. This one was captured near our sensor array, Bren said. She knows things. The girl looked ordinary. Short brown hair, simple clothes, maybe 20 years old, but her eyes showed no fear. What is your name? Drac demanded. Jane, she answered. Just Jane. Who do you work for? Mike Jones. Dr. Brown. Jane smiled. I work for humanity. In a former Varan base in Colorado, now under human control, Mike met with military leaders from around the world. The room was filled with men and women wearing a mix of human uniforms and modified alien gear. We control North America, most of Europe, and parts of Asia, said a general from Russia. But the Varan still have superior firepower. Not for long, Mike replied. He nodded to Dr. Brown, who unveiled a large weapon on a wheeled platform. "This is what we call the Thunderbolt," she explained. "It uses Varan energy technology combined with human targeting systems. It can bring down their ships." "How many do we have?" asked a commander from Brazil. 10 working models," Dr. Brown said. "But we have factories making more every day." Mike pointed to a map. "The Varan made a mistake. They built their factories here on Earth instead of using their ships for manufacturing. Now those factories are ours." Jane watched as Drac paced around her. "You think you're winning," Drac said. "But we have thousands of ships. We could burn your world to ash." "But you won't," Jane replied calmly. "Because you need Earth. Your home world is dying. That's why you came here." Drac stepped back, shocked. "How do you know this?" Jane tapped her head. "We figured it out. Dr. Brown studied your biology. You need a specific atmospheric composition that's becoming rare in your star system. Earth is perfect for you." "That information is classified even among our own people," Bryn whispered. "Humans are good at solving puzzles," Jane said. "And now we know you can't destroy Earth. You need it intact." Rachel's communication team intercepted a message from the Varan homeworld. They worked quickly to translate it. "This is big," Rachel told Mike over their secure line. "The Varan Supreme Council is considering removing Drac from command. They're sending an inspection team." "When?" Mike asked. 2 days. Their ship will enter Earth orbit near our Australian base." Mike smiled. "Then we need to give them a proper welcome." Dr. Brown made final adjustments to the Thunderbolt weapon positioned in the Australian outback. Around her, hundreds of resistance fighters prepared for battle. "Will this work?" asked an Australian commander. "In theory," Dr. Brown replied. "We've never targeted a ship that size before." A scout ran up to them. "Varan ship entering atmosphere. It's heading for their Sydney base." "Right on schedule," Dr. Brown said. "Let's show them what humans can do." In Washington, Jane was brought before Drac again. "Your people are planning something," he said. "Tell me what it is." Jane shrugged. "I'm just a messenger. I came to offer terms." "Terms?" Drac laughed. "You offer us terms?" "Yes," Jane said simply. "Leave our planet now, and we let you live." As she spoke, the building shook. Outside, explosions lit up the night sky. "What is happening?" Drac demanded. Officer Trell rushed in. "Commander, the inspection ship from the Supreme Council has been shot down over Australia." Drac stared at Jane, who smiled back at him. "The nightmare," she said, "is just getting started." The loss of the Supreme Council's inspection ship changed everything. The Varan homeworld demanded answers, but Drac had none to give. The humans knew exactly when and where the ship would arrive. He told his officers. They had Thunderbolt weapons waiting. 3 direct hits, and it was gone. "The Supreme Council is sending a war fleet," Officer Trell announced. "They no longer trust us to handle this situation." Science Officer Bryn looked worried. "A war fleet means they'll try to destroy all human resistance at once. Millions will die." Drac nodded. "Good. Let them burn this world clean. Then we can start over." In the rebuilt United Nations building in Geneva, now the headquarters of the Human Defense Council, Mike Jones met with leaders from every continent. "The Varan war fleet will arrive in 1 week," he announced. "According to our intelligence, they're bringing planet-killer weapons." "Can we stop them?" asked the representative from Africa. Dr. Brown stepped forward. "Not with our current technology. But we have a new plan." She showed them images of a massive device being built in a former Varan factory. "We call it the Shield. It uses the Varan's own energy technology to create a protective barrier around Earth. If it works, their weapons won't penetrate our atmosphere." "And if it doesn't work?" someone asked. Mike answered simply, "Then we take the fight to them." Jane sat in her cell, waiting. The Varan thought she was their prisoner, but she was exactly where she needed to be. She had a small device hidden in her shoe, a tracker that Dr. Brown had created. A guard brought her food. She had learned that this particular guard was different from the others. He seemed curious about humans, not hateful. "Your leaders are making a mistake," she told him. "Sending a war fleet will only make things worse." "We must win," the guard replied. "We have nowhere else to go." "There are other planets," Jane said. "Planets without humans on them." "Not like Earth," the guard admitted. "Your world is perfect." Jane leaned closer. "We could have shared. If you had come in peace, we would have helped you." The guard looked away. "It's too late now." Rachel's communication team worked around the clock, tracking Varan ship movements and translating their messages. "The war fleet has entered our solar system," she reported to Mike. 50 ships, much larger than anything we've seen before. "Is the shield ready?" Mike asked Dr. Brown. "Almost," she replied. "We need 3 more days." "We may not have 3 days." He turned to Rachel. "Can you still access their communication systems?" Rachel nodded. "Yes, but they've improved their security. Whatever we do, they'll detect it quickly." "That's okay," Mike said. "We only need to send one message." In space, Admiral Kraz led the Varan war fleet toward Earth. His orders were clear: take control from Commander Drac, then eliminate all human resistance by any means necessary. "Sir," his communication officer called, "we're receiving a message from Earth. It's in our language." "Put it through," Kraz ordered. A human face appeared on the main screen. It was Mike Jones. "This is Earth Defense Force. We know why you're here. We know about your dying world. We are giving you one chance to turn around. If your fleet enters Earth orbit, we will activate our planetary defense system. Your ships will be destroyed." Admiral Kraz laughed. "They're bluffing. Planetary defense system. They couldn't even stop our first invasion. That was 2 years ago," his science officer reminded him. "They learn quickly." "Proceed as planned," Kraz ordered. "Nothing can stop 50 war vessels." In his command center, Drac received news of the approaching fleet with mixed feelings. Victory was close, but it would not be his victory. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the base. "What now?" he demanded. Officer Trell checked the security monitors. "All cells in the detention block are open. The prisoners are escaping." In her cell, Jane removed the small device from her shoe and pressed a button. Every electronic lock in the building failed at once. "Find her," Drac shouted. "Find the human female." But Jane was already gone, along with every piece of information stored in the Varan computers. The nightmare was spreading. The Varan war fleet entered Earth orbit with weapons ready. 50 massive ships positioned themselves around the planet, waiting for Admiral Kraz's command. "No sign of this planetary defense system," Kraz said with a laugh. "Begin targeting major human strongholds." On the main ship's screen, targeting systems locked onto cities and military bases worldwide. The Varan officers prepared for the final victory that would end the human nightmare. "Sir," called the science officer, "I'm detecting energy buildups on the surface." "Weapons?" Kraz asked. "No, something else. Something big." In a hidden facility beneath the Antarctic ice, Dr. Brown watched as the shield powered up. The massive machine hummed with energy stolen from Varan technology. "All stations report ready," Rachel announced, monitoring communications from installations around the world. Mike Jones gave the final order: "Activate the shield." Dr. Brown pressed her hand against the control panel. The floor shook as the machine channeled power through networks buried across the planet. Above them, the sky began to glow. Admiral Kraz watched in disbelief as a blue energy field spread across Earth's atmosphere, completely surrounding the planet. "Fire," he ordered. "Fire all weapons now." The war fleet launched everything they had: energy beams, missiles, explosive devices. Each weapon hit the blue shield and dissipated harmlessly. "Impossible," Kraz whispered. "Sir," his communication officer called. "We're receiving a transmission from the surface." Jane's face appeared on the screen. She stood alongside Mike Jones and Dr. Brown. "This is Earth Defense Force," she said. "Your weapons cannot harm us anymore, but we can harm you." As she spoke, hundreds of small dots appeared on the Varan radar systems, ships launching from Earth's surface, human ships with Varan weapons. High Commander Drac watched the battle from his base. His own scanners showed what was happening in orbit. "They've turned our technology against us," Officer Trell said in awe. "No species has ever done this," Science Officer Bren added. "They didn't just learn to use our weapons. They improved them." A message from Admiral Kraz came through. "We cannot penetrate their shield. And their ships, they're faster than ours, more maneuverable. We've lost 5 vessels already." Drac made his decision. "Send the surrender signal." 3 days later, the leaders of both sides met in neutral territory, a platform floating in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Mike, Dr. Brown, Jane, and Rachel represented Earth. Admiral Kraz, Commander Drac, and the Varan science team represented their people. "These are our terms," Mike said. "First, all Varan military forces will leave Earth immediately." Kraz nodded reluctantly. "Second," continued Dr. Brown, "you will share all your scientific knowledge with us. Medicine, energy technology, space travel. And what do we get in return?" Drac asked bitterly. Jane stepped forward. "A new home," she said, showing them images of Mars. "We can help you terraform Mars using your technology and our understanding of planetary development. It's not Earth, but it's close enough for your needs." "You would do this?" Kraz asked, surprised. "After all we did to your world?" "Humans understand survival," Rachel explained. "We also understand second chances. And third," Mike finished, "you will never again invade another inhabited world. The next species might not be as merciful as humans." 1 year later, Jane stood on a hill overlooking the new city being built in what was once a Varan base. Humans and Varan worked side by side, rebuilding Earth while preparing Mars for the alien colony. Mike joined her. "Did you ever think it would end like this?" "No," Jane admitted, "but it's better than endless war." In the sky above, stars twinkled peacefully. Among them, Varan ships now orbited as allies rather than invaders. The war they wanted had become a nightmare they never expected. But in the end, it had created something new, a future neither species could have imagined alone. Dr. Brown approached with new plans for a joint Earth-Varan space station. "Ready for the next challenge?" she asked. Jane smiled. "Always." The stars awaited.